once was a boy who went to a beautiful school. He was like most children you know, except for one thing. He forgot everything, even his name. That's why his parents gave him a belt buckle with a big H on it, to remind him of his name.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to your first day at school. My name is Mr. Harold, and I'd like for us to get to know each other. Let's start over here with this little boy. What's your name?
Hippopotamus? No, that's not it. Henrietta? No, that's not it either. Gee, I forgot.
Class, does anyone know this little boy's name?
Necessary to learn the art of becoming an old person. They had things like mechanical pencils, plastic rulers, and the newest electronic mathematic gizmos. They even had shirts with little alligators on them. Harry had many toys, so many that he shared them with his friends and even gave some of them away. He also had a great deal of money, although he wasn't sure of the exact amount. One thing he didn't have much of was time. There were dancing lessons, flutophone lessons, horseback riding lessons. Hey, Harry, look out for that tree! Swimming lessons, piano lessons, gymnastic lessons.
Oh, Harry, next time land on your own feet, not mine.
And yoga lessons. You see, he lived in a progressive home. There was always something to do in school. First, there were all those subjects, reports, plays, and games. There wasn't much time to simply do nothing. One day, Harry went to the school library, where he had a special place for times when he wanted to be alone.
I'm always thinking, I've got to take a break.
He decided to sit quietly in a special place and stop thinking. No thinking about his subjects, TV, toys, or games. He found it was hard to stop thinking. After a while, he got the hang of it. All of a sudden, he felt tingly inside. And then he heard a voice deep within him.
What do you see? What do you feel? Good, very good. You've learned your first lesson from the light. There's no need to run outside and look, or even to look out a window. There is a different way, one to the center of yourself. From now on, the more you step off this road, the less you will learn, the less you will see, the less you will feel.
All of a sudden, the boy realized he wasn't in the library anymore, or even in his school. He was sitting in the middle of a huge field with nothing but trees, grass, and flowers around him.
Oh, no. Where am I?
As Harry started to cry, the sound of marching came rolling over the green hills ahead of him. Harry was still too busy crying to notice the strange-looking people who had surrounded him. There were about 20 of them, and all of them were only a tad taller than Harry. Some were tall, some were short. They wore robes and hats, and many of them had beards. Their leader pointed a pudgy finger at Harry and said,
Help him.
Several of the men dug near a large gray tree and unearthed several odd-looking crystals. They rubbed 2 of them together over Harry's head, and he quieted down.
Do you see it? It can't be. But it is.
Dig!
Well, dig. Well, boy, do you feel better? Yes. Where am I? Who are you? I'm Derek, leader of the people west of the Auger River to east at the Brother and Sister Mountains. We were on the other side of this hill when we heard you choking. We just set out on an expedition and are in the valley of the Auger. But how did I get here? Beats me. Maybe by some strange power? I'm sorry. I don't understand things of this sort that well. So let me see if my wizards, Laszlo, Elmo, or Milo, might be able to figure out this puzzle.
Elmo and Laszlo slowly walked around the boy and proceeded to touch his head with their fingertips.
Unquestionably. It must be. This boy has recently emptied his head. Colin, what have you found in that hole? Is it what Milo thought would be there?
It is.
Stop! Milo shouted as everyone stood as still as statues.
Do you forget we still need the fallen star? We still need the heat? We still need...
Stop!
No need to shout, my boy.
What in the world are you talking about? Of course. We failed to explain everything to you. Milo, if you would kindly do so.
'Twould be my honor, dear. You see, boy, many years ago our kingdom was given a special gift by someone. We called this gift the light. While it burned in our castle, the light warmed our hearts and minds. But one day an evil black cloud named Yag came into our kingdom.
Tell me more about this, Yag.
For a few moments, everything was dark. Even I, Milo, the greatest of the wizards, was momentarily blinded by this foul blanket of fog. When the air finally cleared, the light was gone from our castle, and also gone from the hearts and minds of most of our people. The men you see here are the only ones who remember the light that shines in all men. The Black Cloud Yag has been hunting us to put his murky mist in our minds and hearts so that we too will forget the light. We are searching for the 3 things that will give us back the light. Laszlo, read from the books.
It says we need an egg of oxygen, a fallen star, and heat. If we combine these 3 things, we'll ignite the light.
But we are running out of time. Yag picked up a trail a day ago and will soon catch up with us.
And you, dear boy, have shown us where the egg of oxygen was.
You are gifted,
Yes, gifted, a true wizard.
and with any luck you'll lead us to a fallen star and heat.
But I'm not special. I'm like everyone else in my school. In fact, I'm even a poor speller. How can that be? Surely you have the powers of a wizard.
Never mind that right now. We must continue our search.
Please, could you help us? It would honor me if you would lead my people to the star and the light.
Tell you what, we can share being the leader.
Harry and the searchers walked for many hours along the road. That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, Harry was still awake and feeling sorry for himself.
Yield and overcome. Bend and be straight. Empty and be full. Wear out and be new. Give and you shall receive.
And then Harry figured it out. As they entered one area of the forest, the boy noticed that the normal sounds of the woods were getting softer and harder to hear.
Don't you notice, Derek?
No. What is it, boy?
This land is enchanted. It is called the Mute Glen. There is a secret entrance invisible to all but a few people.
Look, over there. Follow me.
Harry led them through a porthole they could feel but not see. Now all the searchers noticed the still feeling in the air.
Look, a sign.
They all read. Those who talk do not know. Those who know do not talk. They were standing in a small clearing in the Mute Glen. Although the sky was almost totally dark, they saw a person sitting on a throne made of mushrooms.
It's Aubrey, keeper of the Mute Glen.
The boys sat in front of Aubrey. There was no need for words. They could talk to each other with their minds. As time went on, Derek became impatient.
Well, Milo, what are they doing?
Talking, my liege, talking.
Well, blast it, what are they saying?
I hear them, Derek.
Who speaks?
I believe it is Todd. Tell us what you have heard.
Aubrey has told the boy that we are on the path to a fallen star, but the path leads through the Valley of Silence and might be dangerous. It is guarded by the trees of bracken. Aubrey says that many men have traveled into that forest and have never returned.
As they traveled, the sky turned to a dark purple. It was cold enough to see the mist of their breath.
Before we enter the Valley of Silence, we must protect our ears from the enchanted sounds we can hear. If we listen to them, our minds will become so confused we will never leave this forest.
Milo then sprinkled the dust from some special rocks over the heads of the searchers.
Do not be tricked. These people look like they're doing something, but they're only acting.
Some people will look like statues, others will be moving.
And silence fell over them. Finally, they passed through the Valley of Silence into a wooded area. The trees were small, like those found in apple orchards.
The fallen star must be here.
Men, start looking.
Halt!
Cried a tree. At once the other trees came to life and held the searchers with their limbs.
What business do you have with the trees of Rackham?
We came in search of the fallen star, so we might combine its magical powers with the power of oxygen and heat and regain the light.
Hello? Brother and sister trees, release them. We have guarded the fallen star for this day. Many have wanted its magical powers, but only for themselves, not the light in all men. Quickly, take the star and spread the light over the world. You see, not only men depend on the light, but also the trees, plants, and animals of land and sea.
The trees guided them to a hidden clearing deep in the woods.
Derek, my direction finder is going haywire. We'll never find our way out of the Rackham Forest.
Do not worry. There is a way. Feel for the final missing part of your search. Feel for the heat. It will lead you out of our forest and to your journey's end.
So Harry raised his hand, trying to see if one direction was warmer than another.
I'm not sure, but I think it's this way.
They walked for many hours. The cloud monster Yag was quickly catching up to them.
I found it.
What?
Is there heat in that book, Wallow?
No, you ninny. The road we travel on leads to an old castle, Castle Friendscape. This must be the place where the heat will be found.
Look here in this book. It describes Castle Friendscape as a place of cloud-touching towers, large feasts, and warm beds for everyone.
And in this book it tells of hundreds of people who live there in happiness and peace.
This must be the place.
Hurrah! I've got bad news. Yag will be here in minutes. It's another day's walk to get to Castle Friendscape.
Then we'll never arrive there in time.
Then we are doomed.
We've done all this for nothing.
I'm sorry, Derek. I'm afraid we're lost.
Don't worry. My people will survive. Someday we'll find a way to regain the light.
Harry and Derek then shook hands.
Wait! We have the heat we need right here. Let's join the heat and desire for the light that lives in our own hearts by joining hands.
As the searchers started to grab each other's hands, Yag rapidly started closing in.
We need more time. Maybe if I can distract Yag, we'll be able to come together as one.
With that thought, Harry pulled off his belt and threw it directly at Yag. Because of the buckle's slight gleam, Yag thought it might be someone's light. The cloud monster lurched forward and caught it directly in his mouth. When he realized he had been tricked by the belt, he shot it back to the boy. But Harry had fooled Yag long enough for everyone to get their hands back together.
Quick, boy. Take my hand.
The light had returned. They all felt it as they quietly sat in awe of it. A feeling came from deep inside this silence. Harry sang and danced and answered to the call of the light.
The light that shines above, the light
Slowly, the trees, grass, and little people dissolved and reemerged as shelves, carpet, and books.
How did I get here? I'm back in the library.
No one ever did believe the boy's story, and some days even he wondered about it.
One thing was for sure, the boy had found the light in himself, and through this light he helped the light to shine through